Welcome to Golden Software's video training for MapViewer 8. MapViewer is an affordable thematic mapping and spatial analysis software package that allows you to produce professional-looking graphics. In this video, I will cover how to create and edit hatch maps. MapViewer has three overarching map types: base maps, pin maps, and thematic maps. A thematic map is a combination of a base map and linked data. It shows different types of information, like social and political information, corresponding to a specific geographic area like a county or state. MapViewer has 14 different thematic map types, a few of which have subtypes associated with them. Each map type will be discussed in its own training video. This video will discuss hatch maps. Hatch maps, otherwise known as choropleth maps, are thematic maps in which the fill pattern and/or color of the boundary objects are changed based on the data value associated with those objects. The example shown here displays the populations of the regions in France as varying shades of purple. Hatch maps, as with any map types, only require two data columns, PID and data variable. However, many more columns can exist in the data file. Let's open a data file to view the formatting firsthand. Click File, Open. Use the drop-down list in the bottom right corner of the Open dialog to select the DAT data file as the file type. This will limit the file list to show only DAT files. Select the co2010.dat file from the MapViewer 8 samples directory and click Open. The primary ID, or PID, is what MapViewer uses to link the data to the associated boundary object. This must be unique for each boundary object and must exactly match the PID of the objects in the boundary file. So for this file, columns A, D, and F would all be appropriate since they're unique. But the county boundary files in the samples directory uses the FIPS code as the PID, so we will use column A for the PID when we create the map. The data variables for a hatch map can be any text or numeric data. This dataset does not have any text columns that would be appropriate for a thematic map, but any numeric column from column G through the end of the file would work just fine. Now that we've seen how the data is formatted, we can create the map. Click File, New, Plot to open a new plot window. Click Map, Create Map, Hatch. If we already had a base map created on this map layer, only one dialog would pop up asking for the data file. Since that is not the case here, we will be first prompted to import the boundary file and specify the import options for the boundary file. In the Import dialog, select the co2010.gsb file from the MapViewer 8 samples directory. Verify that the Show Options if they are available box is checked, and click Open. In the Import Options dialog, there can be up to two tabs. If the coordinate system of the file cannot be determined, the first tab, or only tab if your file does not support attributes, will be an Assign Coordinate System tab, where you can specify the coordinate system if you know it. Since our GSB file has the coordinate system saved internally, we do not see this tab. The second tab, or only tab if your coordinate system is known, is the IDs and Attributes tab. This is where you set the columns for the PID, SID, and/or hyperlink IDs, and determine which boundary attributes to import. By default, all attributes except the ones chosen for PID and SID are selected for import, but you can click on these in the Attributes list to select or deselect them. And you can click the Select All Attributes or Clear All Attributes button to select or deselect all of the attributes. We will leave the defaults and click OK. In the Open Data File dialog, you can choose the data file from the file list, or if you have the data file open in a worksheet, you can use the drop-down list under Use Loaded Worksheet to select the appropriate data file. Click Open and the hatch map is created. Now that the hatch map is created, it's quite easy to edit the map properties. The first step for editing the map properties of any map type is to select the map layer, so click on the hatch map layer in the Object Manager if it's not already selected. The map properties are displayed in the Property Manager. Since our PID and variable columns in the General tab are already set to the correct columns, we'll skip right to the Map tab, where most of the properties for this map type are located. In the Map tab, you can change how the classes are binned, by text or by numeric data. You can change what gets filled. the entire area or a uniform circle or square within each area. And you can edit the individual classes. By clicking the Edit button in the Classes field, you open the Data Classes dialog, where most of the properties for this map type are contained. Here you can change the number of classes and the classification method. You can choose to include a No Data class for areas that don't have any linked data, and you can choose to include an All Others class for areas whose data falls outside the range of your classes. Additionally, you can change the color gradient for the entire map by clicking the Fill header, and either clicking Custom at the bottom of the Foreground Colors drop-down list to define your own custom gradient, or selecting from the available gradients. You can edit the minimum, maximum, class name, and fill for individual classes by double-clicking the relevant cell in the table and changing it. Click OK to apply the changes. This concludes the Creating a Hatch Map tutorial. If you have any additional questions, please contact Golden Software.